Hey folks, this is Kalani. BlizzCon probably just blew everyone's minds. We knew this one was going to be a good one, but it looks like Blizzard has been holding back absolutely everything for a few years, and this is where it's all getting announced. We have Diablo 4 confirmed, which is amazing, but more importantly for this video, we have the name of the next World of Warcraft expansion. We're going to the Shadowlands. It looks like some of those leaks had a little morsel of truth to them, eh? The logo and Bolvar leaks were spot on. The announcement cinematic was fantastic, but also didn't end in the way I expected. So what do we know about the Shadowlands so far? Actually, quite a bit, including the potential to choose your own side in the next adventure, which looks like it will have some crucial ramifications. But first things first. How do we get to the Shadowlands? This is a mysterious plane of existence that we weren't ever meant to see. Well, Sylvanas is the key, as you might have guessed. She's been going a bit crazy recently, and the next step of her plan takes her to Icecrown Citadel. We haven't been keeping in touch with Bolvar all too recently, but he's been doing a grand job of keeping the Scourge at bay from what we know. That is, until Sylvanas shows up wanting to wrestle. You should go and watch the reveal cinematic for this because it's amazing and beautiful, and overall just a really cool fight. But Sylvanas manages to subdue Bolvar, and she removes the Helm of Domination. If you saw this part and thought we were about to enter a Lich Queen expansion, I wouldn't be too surprised. I thought that's where we were going at first, but nope. This is all part of her plan to destroy the boundaries between our reality and the afterlife of Azeroth. She destroys the Helm of Domination, and the sky above shattered like a one-way mirror. The Shadowlands are open to us for the first time. It looks like Icecrown Citadel is going to play an important part in getting us to and from this mysterious new realm, so we're going back to Northrend after all. I think Shadowlands is going to be a drastic change of pace. Ian mentioned that this world isn't the Azeroth that we've been playing around on for 15 years. The Shadowlands are an ancient realm that predates the Titans and their creations. This stuff is old, and that's going to really show in some of these new zones. From the peaks that we got, they're incredibly varied, and we'll see plenty of new races, creatures, critters, enemies, and of course new friends. Though we may have to prove a few things before they trust us. The whole theme of the Shadowlands isn't just death though, that's only half the story. The Shadowlands are the source of our death magic, the power that fuels the Scourge and Necromancy, and the power that our Death Knights tap into. Spoiler alert, Death Knights are probably going to be quite important in this next expansion, but the Shadowlands are also the birthplace of the Valkyria and the spirit healers that cover our mistakes more often than we'd like to admit. This is also where beings of nature come to rest before being reborn, like the wild gods and the demigods Cenarius. So the Shadowlands is all about life and death, and the process that all souls eventually go through when they pass into this world. Usually the afterlife will feature good versions and bad versions, heaven and hell, sanctuary and depravity, just like the mortal world, and the Shadowlands is going to be no different. Although life and death doesn't automatically translate into good and bad, we're going to have a choice of which path we want to walk in this new expansion, which should change up how you can approach the story and make your journey potentially quite different from mine. The different zones reflect those choices. Let's have a look at what we know so far. Our new player hub for this entire expansion is called Oribos, the Undying City. This is where souls are meant to arrive when they first cross through the Veil. In the city, the dead are judged by the Arbiter before being sent to their final destinations, and Oribos denizens swap gossip and anima, soul stuff that serves as both power and currency. We'll find out more information about this potent new collectible called anima as more details are revealed. There's also going to be 5 new zones in the Shadowlands expansion, and from what we've seen so far, they all look stunning. We have the Gleaming Fields of Bastion, the Eternal Twilight of Ardenweald, the Opulent Keeps of Revendreth, the Scarred Battlefields of Maldraxxus, and the Horrific Moor. Each of these zones will have their own story, their own theme, and their own covenant, with the exception of the Moor. That zone is going to be even more special. You can see these zones reflect either life and wonder or death and horror. The creatures you will find, the allies you will befriend, the abilities you'll get to use will all depend on what zone you're exploring. I can't wait to see more of each area. I love some of the themes that we've got for the Lifebound zones especially. I'll probably be joining one of those covenants for sure. which means we should definitely talk about the Covenants too. It looks like these groups are Blizzard's answer to the class holes for this expansion. As I mentioned, each of the 4 zones has its own Covenant. In Shadowlands, you'll get to join one of the Covenants and forge a bond with them. That bond will shape your experience in this expansion, and I'm guessing you'll be locked into the choice for at least a little while. They might allow you to chop and change every now and then, but I kind of hope they lock you in at least a little bit. As you level up in the new expansion, you'll gain new spells and abilities based upon which Covenant you're working with, and you can experience the benefits and bonuses of every Covenant as you level, and then when you get to max level, you'll have to lock in your choice. That includes class-specific abilities and special traits and bonuses that you'll unlock through developing soul binds with specific Covenant members. This new family of yours isn't just about how you experience the story, it's going to completely reshape how your class plays. So you can join the Winged Kyrian of Bastion, who seem to have a knack for creating large constructs, the Night Fae of Ardenweald, who remind me a lot of the Wicker magic that we saw in BFA from the Drust, except not quite as corrupted, the Necro Lords in Maldraxxus, who look like the baby brothers of the Scourge, or the Venthia of Revendreth, who I probably wouldn't trust with all that blood magic floating around. Your choice will change your experience, and you'll also be able to choose one of 4 paths in this new World of Warcraft adventure. There are plenty of cosmetic rewards available from these Covenants too, including new cloak options like wings and halos. The ones you see on screen right now are from the Kyrian Covenant, and they fit incredibly well. I can't wait to see what the other Covenants can supply you with. Now, the zone called the Moor doesn't have a Covenant that we know of, but it does have something very special. The Tower of the Damned, ruled over by the mysterious Jailer. This nasty chap is the big bad that Sylvanas has been working with and is the source of her new powers. The tower looks and sounds like it's going to be a new mage tower, but on steroids. A cursed otherworldly prison where the wickedest souls in the universe are locked away and can never escape. The whole idea seems to be to get as high as you can in the tower, moving through challenge after challenge that's always changing and shifting every time you go back for more. It's meant to be highly replayable content at max level, inspired by roguelike games. Those who brave its trials can progress to craft some new legendaries available in Shadowlands and help free the heroic spirits wrongfully trapped within. This could be an entirely new form of endgame content with various rewards and goodies to obtain from overcoming the tower. This will be solo content or group play up to 5 players, and I guess the whole point of it is to be difficult. So if you like challenging small group play similar to Mythic Plus Dungeons, but in an environment that changes every time you go in, this could be an amazing piece of content for you. We'll find out more about this feature soon, I'm sure. At launch, we'll see 8 new dungeons, 4 of which will be made available while leveling up. 1 per leveling zone should keep us busy until max level, and then we'll have another 4 dungeons to explore, including one which delves into the story of our favourite lower, Bwonsamdi. I guess he isn't going anywhere anytime soon, he is the Lower of Death after all. Alongside those dungeons, we'll have a 10-player raid set up in the Revendreth zone, which is apparently like Dracula's castle turned into raid format, so that sounds hilariously awesome. This expansion will end up changing the game potentially more than any other we've seen before. Not only will your in-game choices shape how your class plays and the abilities you have access to, but we're taking a bit of a step backwards when it comes to leveling as well. We knew a level squish was on the table and the dev team was seriously considering it, but it's now been confirmed. Over on the Shadowlands purchase page, one of the main points for the expansion is every level is meaningful. Shadowlands will introduce a new leveling system meant to provide a meaningful sense of advancement with every level achieved. Current max level characters will begin Shadowlands at level 50 and work toward the new level cap of 60. So it's all there in black and white, or blue and white I guess. The new level cap will be level 60 and will start out at level 50. 10 new levels to get through for this expansion, and the entirety of the old leveling process will be changed forever. Leveling could get quite a bit faster and more streamlined. You'll also be able to level from 1 to 50 in almost any expansion you want, so you can level your alt completely differently if you really want to. And if you enjoy playing a Death Knight but are getting a little tired of the race options that you have, you'll be glad to know that yes, more Death Knights are incoming. There have been so many hints towards this little fact in the patch 8.3 PTR, but it has been confirmed that every allied race and the Pandaren will be able to create Death Knights in the future. You won't have to wait until the next expansion though. If you pre-order Shadowlands, you'll actually be able to create those new Death Knight races in patch 8.3, so if that's something of interest, you're going to have to fork out a few buckaroos to secure your place in the Shadowlands as a Vulpera Death Knight. That's not the only reward on offer for pre-orders. You can get the base game for $40, the heroic version for $60, or the epic version for $80. There will be a collector's edition, and we'll find out more about that in the coming months. The base version just comes with the Shadowlands expansion, but it is a bit cheaper than the base versions of previous expansions from what I can remember. If you grab yourself the Heroic Edition, you'll get a level 120 character boost available when you pre-order, so if there's an alt you just have to have at 120 right now, that might be a good choice. You also get the Ensorcelled Everworm mount, which looks awesome. It's like a spirit essence trapped in a golden cage, just for you to ride around on. You'll also have access to a questline that awards a new set of transmog gear, which follows the same theme. A lot of gold, a lot of blue, and very spiritual looking. It should fit in nicely with those folks over in Bastion. If you go one step higher than that and pick up the Epic Edition, you'll also get an Anima Wormling pet, which is a cute mini version of the mount, a Wraith Chill cosmetic weapon effect, which turns your entire weapon into kind of a spirit form. That is going to look amazing on Death Knights for sure. This is also the first kind of weapon visual that changes your entire weapon, which is really exciting for the future. Maybe they'll end up doing that with armor as well. You'll also get the Eternal Traveler's Hearthstone, which may be the single coolest Hearthstone animation in the game right now, and again makes me really hopeful for what they have planned in the future. Awesome new effects, animations, and ideas is always really exciting to see in a new expansion. And to top things off, you'll also get 30 days of game time with the Epic version, so if you're planning on playing anyway, that's $15 included in the price that you would be paying almost no matter what. So if you're as excited for Shadowlands as I am, some of these goodies might be right up your alley. You can also opt into the beta right now if you head on over to the Shadowlands main page. I'll give you a link to that in the comments section below so you don't have to go hunting. Opt into the beta if you're interested in crossing the veil to the Shadowlands a bit early so you can see just what awaits us next year. I imagine the Shadowlands expansion will probably launch right around August. That would keep us on the 2-year expansion cycle, and we'll have plenty of time to get some beta testing in. The Battle for Azeroth beta started up in April, so we should have a lot of information about this new expansion in a few months' time. But that's it for our quick preview of the next World of Warcraft expansion. I'm sure we'll learn a whole bunch more about specific systems so we can go into more detail over the next few days. You should check out some of the other announcements at BlizzCon this year as well. Diablo 4 was unveiled and Overwatch 2 was confirmed as well. Blizzard just might be on their way back up after this one. What do you think of the Shadowlands from what you've seen so far? Which Covenant and Zone do you think matches up with your character the most? Will you be choosing to bind your soul to the forces of life or the forces of death? Leave all your thoughts in the comments section below. A big thank you to all of our supporters over on Patreon. You can see their names floating by on screen. If you want to join these lovely guys and gals, you can find a link in the description below. Remember to leave a like just below the video before you leave. If you want to see more, make sure to subscribe. But apart from that, thanks for watching, folks. Good luck and have fun, and as always, I will see you next time.